Welcome back to Basics. I'm Shannon the Spoonie Stitcher. Don't forget to check out Teresa at Critters Crochet, link down below, because her teaching style might be a little easier to understand than mine. You never know. Today we're learning the double crochet. You need this stitch. This stitch is in so many patterns. If you want to make garments, especially, people are in love with making garments with the double crochet. Why? Because it's a taller stitch, but it's not as tall as a treble and a little bit taller than a half double crochet. It's a very useful stitch. People use it all the time, especially in garments, blankets, and whatnot. So I like this stitch, personally. I do. But I make amigurumi mostly, so double crochet doesn't come in as handy as much, but it's still very, very handy, and it's one of the basics you have to know. So let's go down to the table and learn the double crochet. We can either chain 2 or 3. You actually get a choice, because remember, your turning chain establishes how tall your stitches are. So, in this case, we are going to chain 3 because that is the standard. So, get your yarn. 1, 2, 3. And turn our work. Now, are we on the right side or the wrong side? Who remembers? We are on the right side because our tail is on the left. This turning chain does not count as a stitch. This just helps us establish height of our stitch. So we're going to wrap, go under the V, remember? Wrap again, and go through. Oh, this looks familiar. Now, if we were making a half double crochet, we just go through all of these, but we're not. We're making a double crochet. So we're going to wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. And that is a double crochet. Let's do that again. Wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. So that's how it should be looking. Okay, I'll show you really slow. Wrap into the stitch, wrap again, pull through that stitch, 3 loops on your hook, wrap, go through 2, wrap, go through 2. Just like that. Okay, let's establish our rhythm. Wrap, in, wrap, through, 3, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. Wrap, in, wrap, through, 3, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. Let's take out the 3. I think you know that there's going to be 3 loops on the hook, so let's try it this way. Wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. Let's slow it down again. Wrap, in, that means under the V, wrap, through, that means pull through the stitch, 3 loops on our hook here. We're going to wrap and go through 2 and wrap and go through 2. Okay, you got it? Wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. Keep that rhythm and say it all along. Wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap, in, wrap, through, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. Okay, you finish out the row, and I will show you how to do the very last stitch. If you're following along on your sampler, then you should have 19 stitches right now, and you don't know how to do the 20th yet. So, this is the stitch. Where is my needle? This is our stitch. This is nothing. This tiny little loop on the end, Ignore it. Just go in the stitch right here. That'll be your 20th stitch. Right there. Now, when you make the next row, you're going to chain 3 like you did before and turn. You're still going to go into that first stitch right there next to the chain. But I'm going to show you something real quick. This is what makes the double crochet different from other stitches. Besides its height, it also looks different. Here is the nice thing about a double crochet. Whether you're on the wrong side or the right side, pretty much it looks the same, which is really nice. And if you'll notice, that shape is a rectangle. Right here, straight, straight. Same up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're on the right side. So we have square, pie, square. Then we run into a T. And this is our half double crochet. And apparently I ripped out my stitch. The other shape we have is the triangle. So those are the two shapes you have for a half double crochet. And then for our double crochet, we have the rectangle, and we only have a rectangle. It looks like a rectangle either way. One looks like a neat rectangle, and one looks like a squished rectangle. Either way, it's a rectangle. So when you're counting double crochets, you're looking for rectangles. And double crochet is one of the easiest stitches to count because basically you can just count the rectangles. You don't even have to count these little V's if it gets confusing. You just count the rectangles. $19.20. Ta-da! And that's all you need to know. The stitch looks the same. Doing the stitch is the same. And counting it's really easy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, life happens, yarn helps, and spoonies can stitch it up too. Bye!